Every great story has a beginning, and with St. Anthony, it's no different. Those early sisters rode the railroad here to Oklahoma Territory, not settled at all, very rugged, probably in some ways dangerous, and basically worked in railroad camps asking for funds. People said, "We'll give you money for your ministries, but only if you stay here and build a hospital." And our sisters said, "We will." They were following a God that they had fallen in love with, who called them to move out of their comfort zones.
St. Anthony is unique in the fact that it is the oldest hospital in Oklahoma. It was the place where people were born. It was a place for exciting new opportunities, for research and development.
There were so many firsts in those 20, 30, 40, 50 years. The first x-ray machine, the first nursing class to graduate. All those firsts are such an important part of the history and the identity of the hospital.
I started at this institution in 1980. St. Anthony was the hospital at that time. The finest surgeons were headquartered here. We were the busiest cardiovascular program, not just in the city, but to my understanding was in the entire state. So this was the place to be. This is where the action was at that time.
I decided to go into practice in downtown Oklahoma City. In 1979, oil and gas was booming, and it was a thriving community downtown.
So those were the good times. And just like the stock market, good times don't last. Sometimes you take a dip. And then we did take a dip.
Different economic times occurred, and there was an oil bust in the 80s, and downtown didn't have the same vibrance it once had.
There were no jobs. I graduated college in 1986. We were right in the middle of the oil bust. And I made a personal decision. This is where my roots are. This is where my family is.
I remember this part of town during the mid-'80s incredibly well. It was when I first moved to Oklahoma City and was looking at real estate down here. Sidewalks were cracked, full of grass growing up between them. The buildings were boarded up, windows broken. It just was not a very welcoming environment.
When I first started here, I did have friends that went to nursing school with me, and they questioned my choice of working here. I think I always felt like this part of town really needed people to take care of the community.
When I got hired at the Oklahoman, I was first a police reporter, and Midtown was in very bad shape. There were a lot of flop houses, a lot of drug activity, a lot of prostitution.
Really looking back, one of the saddest and funniest situations was when St. Anthony came to us and came to the mayor and to the city manager and said, "We need your help. There's a hotel across the street from our hospital that's active as a lair of prostitution." And so one day, Glenn Deck was the city manager at the time. One day he goes and gets his lunch at Taco Bell and drives his car up, sits on 9th Street, right about where Starbucks is now, and watches the prostitutes coming and going and their customers coming and going during lunch hour. It was a really rough part of town.
People were moving out into the suburbs. Businesses left. And the doctors also started to leave. And we lost the cardiovascular program. The people would come up to me and say, "Okay, Ifti, are you going to come with us? Or are you going to be the last man standing and you'll turn the switches off?" I said, "Well, I'm going to take my chance. I think the thing will come around. We will survive."
St. Anthony's is a midtown hospital. And then all of a sudden we got the moniker of we were an inner city hospital. And then got the moniker that said it's a poor person's hospital, which was absolutely not true.
Physicians were moving in droves out to the suburbs, but there were still a few that stayed. And I'm still thankful for those people that stayed, because they're the people that helped keep the doors of St. Anthony open.
Not far from here, the Murrah building was bombed in April of 1995. And I'd have to say we all learned a lot about ourselves. We learned a lot about our community and about our resilience and about our willingness to stick together in difficult times.
Everything was shattered that day. So I think it was part of the natural grieving process that for a time, the downtown area was unsure of itself.
And really what happened after the bombing is it depopulated this area. The daycares, the dry cleaners, the restaurants, all those things were gone. Hundreds of buildings were damaged or destroyed in the bombing. So what you had for about 5 years was everything frozen in place. It was just almost like a lunar landscape.
As we moved through the later 90s, I think we began to take a different look at ourselves as far as what we felt like we needed to be, and we contemplated, would we serve our mission and ministry better by going where the people are?
Oklahoma City had passed maps, and they were doing a ton of renovations in downtown Oklahoma City. But still, this Midtown area was not developed. We were still struggling financially. And so we thought, well, what if we move south? And that created this firestorm all across Oklahoma City.
I recall specifically that I was a member of Rotary Club, and the CEO of St. Anthony's gave a talk about an award that St. Anthony's had received, a national award. And he was asked at the end of this presentation, is there any truth to the rumor that St. Anthony may be moving out of Midtown? And he gave a very calculated but vague answer. And so headlines in the Oklahoman the next day, is St. Anthony going to move out to the suburbs or to some other area?
Steve Hunter and Cynthia Archinaco came and they said, would you come and talk to our medical staff? Because they're going to be making the decision whether to recommend moving to the suburbs or not. And they'd like to hear why they should stay downtown. These doctors are used to dealing with life and death issues every day. And here's this elected official who's coming to talk to them about don't relocate your hospital. And so they're used to not betraying their emotions. And so I'm looking for some kind of input. You know, would you nod your head? Would you shake your head? Would you do something? I got nothing out of them. And it was by far the most difficult meeting I ever had as mayor.
This is a very serious moment. Could they really survive in a blighted urban neighborhood, or was it time to accept enticements? And there were enticements from developers in suburban areas to move. And this would be a very hard decision because no hospital had the kind of history with Midtown and with the urban core that St. Anthony did.
I know when the hospital was thinking about closing and moving maybe to another area, there was a lot of concern. What is our indigent population going to do?
This is where God had planted us to serve the needs of the people of this area. Where would they go if we left?
In 2004, we decided to stay. And with that, we embarked ourselves on a pretty aggressive cultural change, both inside the hospital and outside the hospital.
And it was a very significant day when the word came that Saints was going to stay. And not only stay, but reinvest over $200 million in their campus to bring it up to the level of excellence that it is today.
The decision to stay here was powerful. A city is not a city without a strong downtown. It would not be that way if St. Anthony had moved.
From a business perspective, they probably didn't make a lot of sense. But you know, ours is not totally about business. Ours is about a mission.
To St. Anthony's credit, they were willing to invest a lot of money in this neighborhood. They had invested a lot of money in this neighborhood, but they could no longer do it alone. They needed the help of the city and county. And you had a very, very visionary mayor and city council, a very forward-looking county commission, and you had downtown civic leaders, and they could see the potential of Midtown. And they also could see the devastation that would occur if St. Anthony left.
I think what's been really exciting about this is that it isn't just St. Anthony created this. Yes, we were the impetus, we stayed, we started reinvesting in our facility, and what that created was lots of synergy with everything else that's happened.
Saint's decision to stay was the catalyst. It was the pebble that dropped in a pond, and you just began to see the ripples.
Midtown has come back, it's alive. It's a healthy Midtown.
We have bowling alleys, burgers, and we've got high-end dining. We've got the OCU Law School. We can list 40 projects probably that make up what Midtown is today that are only here because St. Anthony made the decision 12 short years ago. It's just seems impossible, but 12 years ago to reinvest in their downtown campus and make this part of Oklahoma City thrive.
Midtown is a very walkable community where you can live and work and play, get your health care and everything in one spot.
You can see the momentum. You can see all the houses being built. There's millions of dollars being spent on housing, many of them modern contemporary homes. These are people's dream homes, and they're building their dream homes around St. Anthony.
Midtown today is a great success story. It's probably Oklahoma City's greatest success story as far as going from something that was very bad to something that's really thriving. And the two reasons are St. Anthony, and St. Anthony's the biggest. And the second is Midtown Renaissance. Bob Howard and Mickey Clegg have bought up a lot of property and are doing great stuff. And so now, Midtown is where people want to be. None of that would have happened had that meeting in Bricktown with the doctors gone differently.
Without St. Anthony, you don't have Midtown. You don't have all the restaurants and shops. You don't have Fessler Hall. None of this.
I'm so glad that we stayed here. If we would have moved, I think we would have lost so much of what the sisters tried to do, which was be part of this community right here.
The Metro's really gotten double the investment it might have gotten otherwise, because as it's been continuing on a 10-year, $220 million plan to totally redo its Midtown home, it has also invested in St. Anthony health plexes throughout the Metro, whether it's in Mustang, Northwest Oklahoma City, where it's anchoring this whole new Chisholm Creek development that is in itself pretty ambitious. But you're seeing them throughout the Metro. So we've gotten clearly double the investment, if not more, had they have just left.
I don't know of a single organization that has a better, more powerful mission statement than that of St. Anthony. And when you walk into the hospital and on many of the walls throughout the space, you see that mission. It's a very special place.
St. Anthony's enjoys a great reputation in our community and far beyond for caring for its patients. I speak of that as though I am certain, because I am certain. I have been a patient at St. Anthony's, and so I will always be indebted for the great care they gave me.
And I think it's because from the top down, we want to treat the patients with respect. And we don't look at their ability to pay, we don't look at their race or their gender or anything. We just say, this is the patient, they are sick, it is our job to make them feel as good as they can.
I feel like I'm a part of the history of St. Anthony, and I feel like I'm a part of the team, and that my opinion counts here. That's why I think it's a great place to work.
One of the most exciting things to me that's happened over the last several years at St. Anthony is the development of the Saints First Network.
And this is the ability for a rural hospital to call in and transfer a patient to this campus that they may not be able to provide care for in the rural setting. And we were the first hospital to help develop the program.
We're very fortunate we have an electronic health record that we share through many of those rural hospitals that St. Anthony helps sponsor, and that provides some very seamless communication so that we can make sure those patients are well cared for.
Now we're blessed because what's occurred through our administration and our medical groups and the different physicians in leadership is the recruitment of a wonderful primary care network. And then the vision to spread our services north, south, east, and west. And then with the Saints First program to bring people in from surrounding communities. We've taken that vision and expanded it across Oklahoma. You have other hospital systems that have hospitals all over the place, but not an integrated system that helps take care of people. And I think the service that we provide to our patients is unmatched in Oklahoma City.
We're building a brand new intensive care unit and ER facility, and we're getting ready for the challenges that healthcare is going to bring to us.
I think St. Anthony's Hospital will continue to be a premier hospital in Oklahoma City and in the state, and deliver top-notch health care for the people.
I believe that if you're doing the right thing for the right reason, your future is always bright. And in this instance, I feel great about the future of St. Anthony's.
It's amazing what's happened to St. Anthony in a dozen years. It's not just transformed itself in an amazing way, but it's led in transforming an entire neighborhood. And what it's accomplished in Midtown is inspiring changes throughout the metro. And I'm excited to see how this all continues to evolve. Midtown's not done yet, and St. Anthony is not done either.
I really don't know another place that has changed an entire neighborhood in 12 years and also changed from being a dying inner city hospital to being the fastest growing, vibrant hospital that we are today.
I'm actually really proud to be able to tell those nursing buddies of mine, look at where we are now. I really think that the founding sisters would really be happy. We've been here for over 100 years, but it feels like a fresh start and a new beginning. There's so much growth and expansion happening. I just think it's going to continue to get better and better.
Who would have ever thought what you see today and what you have seen over the years would be a result of a few women, not terribly well educated, but absolutely convinced about who they were and whose they were.
St. Anthony has been there through the bad times. When a tornado hits, when a bomb goes off, they're right there in the front lines. They don't wait. They're doing what they know how to do best. They're just neighbors, helping neighbors. And that is truly Oklahoma City. That's Oklahoma.
Through our exceptional healthcare services, we reveal the healing presence of God. It was true 117 years ago, and it's true today. Nothing's changed except the scope of the services that we deliver.